The idea that we can just slap a franchise tag on a guy like George Pickens and then immediately start whispering about a tag-and-trade scenario is the organizational complacency that has kept this franchise in a championship drought for 3 decades. I've spent the morning rewatching the tape from this past season, and if you aren't seeing the absolute gravity that Pickens brings to this offense, then we aren't watching the same sport. We're talking about a 25-year-old superstar who just finished 8th in the league in receptions and 3rd in receiving yards. But here we are again, at the intersection of Jerry World and salary cap purgatory, hearing reports that we might ship him out just to recoup draft capital. It makes my blood boil because it's the same old song and dance prioritizing the spreadsheet over the scoreboard. I am Carlos Eduardo, the lead analyst for the Star on the Helmet, and today we need to have a very blunt conversation about the soul of the Dallas Cowboys. We need to decide if this front office actually has the stomach to build a winner or if they're just content playing accounting games with our collective sanity. If I'm being honest with Cowboys fans, this entire situation feels like a slow-motion car crash that we've seen before. Let's be real, we are coming off a 7-9-1 season. In Dallas, wearing that star, that is a total failure of identity. A sub-.500 season is an indictment of the entire culture. And yet, the biggest news coming out of the building isn't about how we're going to fix the lack of gap discipline on defense, which, by the way, ranked dead last in points allowed, or how we're going to tighten up the money downs. Instead, we're talking about potentially shipping out the most explosive playmaker we've seen in a Cowboys uniform since Dez Bryant was throwing up the X. I look at George Pickens, and I see a throwback to the 90s dynasty. I see that edge, that triple threat swagger that Michael Irvin used to bring to the field. Pickens hauled in 93 passes last year for 1,429 yards and 9 touchdowns. He did that in an offense that was frequently out of sync. From my perspective, you don't capitalize on the value of a guy like that, you build a monument to him. You pay the man his $28 million and you make him a cornerstone. But no, the reports from Ian Rappaport say we're looking at a tag and trade because we're worried about the long-term cost. If I'm being blunt, this front office has developed a terrifying habit of letting elite talent walk. We remember the Micah Parsons trade disaster last August. We traded away the best defensive player of a generation because we didn't want to deal with the contract standoff. What did we get? A defense that stunk out loud. Now, because George Pickens shares an agent with Micah and David Mulugeta, we're already planning his exit strategy. It's cowardice masquerading as asset management. What I see on the film is a receiver who wins when it matters. When the lights are the brightest at AT&TStadium and the game is on the line, Pickens is the one making the contested catch. You cannot replace that clutch factor with a second-round pick. If we trade him, we are telling CeeDee Lamb that he has to beat triple coverage for the rest of his career. We are telling Dak Prescott that his window to win a title in Dallas is effectively slammed shut. I've lived through the glory days of the 90s, and I can tell you for a fact that Jimmy Johnson would never have allowed this kind of gutless maneuver. We need that fire back. We're acting like a small market team that can't afford its stars. Look around the NFC East. The Eagles aren't scared to pay their guys. The Commanders are getting aggressive. And here we are, potentially trading away a 25-year-old second-team All-Pro because we're $30 million over the cap. Clear space. Restructure Dak, convert CeeDee's bonus, cut the dead weight, do whatever it takes to keep the talent in the building. This isn't just about one player, it's about the message it sends to the locker room. If you play your heart out and become an All-Pro, the Cowboys will just tag and trade you to save a few bucks. That's not how you build a culture of winning. We need to return to that America's team mentality. The defense playing with a chip on their shoulder and an offense that dictates terms. You can't dictate terms when you're selling off your best weapons. I'm tired of the excuses. My analysis is simple. Sign Pickens to a long-term deal, and let's actually go compete. Stop trying to win the offseason on paper and start trying to win it on the turf. The fans deserve better than a team that's getting younger and worse at the same time. We represent the Star. It's time we started acting like it again. The chase for the 6th ring starts with keeping the players who help you get there. Don't let the accountants run the football team. Keep George Pickens in Dallas. Pursue the ring, not the draft pick.